Today, I'm going to be seeing if I can beat the Fancy Pants Adventures with 1 life. In this game, you play as the Fancy Pants Man in this 2D platformer that came out in 2011. It originally came out on the Xbox 360 and PS3, but recently got a remaster on Steam. I played this game a ton when I had it on the Xbox 360, so when I saw there was a remaster, I had to come back and revisit it. But I'm going to attempt to beat the entire game without dying a single time. So here's the rules I have set for this challenge. I have to complete the run in 1 sitting. I can't come back later and complete it if I stop in the middle of it. I have to beat all 3 worlds, not just 1. There are 3 worlds in this game that consist of their own little storyline, but I'm going to treat them as if they're all one game. And finally, if I die, I restart the run. A death is counted when the blue bar in the top left of the screen runs out and I lose a pair of pants. Now we are starting on World 1. Now, World 1 is the shortest of all the worlds and is the easiest to complete. It only takes a couple minutes to beat, but it's still a very fun playthrough. Now, my first death occurred on level 2. Because of these moving platforms, I tried to rush it and just fell off the map. After getting back, I was very patient and got through the rest of this level super easily. The last level was pretty fun, had some good platforming, but I eventually got into this cave and smoked my head on one of these spikes. Once we drop down into the cave, we start a boss fight with this penguin. Now for my first few attempts of this boss fight, this glitch kept happening where I would fall into the map. I later realized that I had to make the penguin just run into the wall instead of jumping on him, and after he runs into the wall, then I can jump on him. And that completes World 1. Now we are going to make our way straight into World 2, where we find ourselves in kind of a golf course-like area. After hitting the shell, we chase it around for a bit until we eventually take it and put it in this golf hole. Then the mayor of Squiggleville shows up to give us an ice cream. Then this rabbit shows up and decides he wants to take our ice cream.
Later, bitch.
So our goal in this world is to go back and get our ice cream. So the first level is like this underground pipe-like area. The first level was actually pretty short, and then we moved straight onto the second level. The second level is even shorter than the first, and I don't even think you can die on this level because you're just running through all these loops. Now we move into level 3. Now level 3 is probably my favorite in World 2 because it's just super fast paced with all these like slick linings on the ground. I also found this secret door that takes me to this nighttime like area. The whole point of this little area is to get this little collectible at the end here. We finally made it to the end of level 3, and now we get to go into level 4. Level 4 was kind of scary because you could fall off the map and die. And I fell off the map and died. After getting back, I took this part of the game way more serious, and I ended up getting through it pretty easily. Next up is level 5. Level 5 is a forest-like area that takes us up into the sky, so we can get a good look at the spiders. The next level is just this really short wall jumping level. Next we move into this desert level, which is pretty simple and not very hard to get through. The next level is kind of just squeezing through these platforms, but for some reason, this is like a super stressful level, and I never actually died to it. Next we get this underground level, which is pretty easy. It has some cool parkour though, and a really long running section. Next we move to this level where you have to jump between all these platforms. It only takes about 30 seconds to beat this level. Now we are in the final level of World 2, right before the boss fight. This level just scared me a lot playing through it, just because there are so many spots where I could just fall off the map. Eventually though, I made it to the boss fight. Now out of all the worlds, this is easily the hardest boss fight. It took me so many tries to beat this. So what he does is he drops spiders and a single snail. He will always drop a single snail, and you have to hit him with the shell. Then you can either jump on his head or just run into him to deal damage to him. You need to do this 3 times to beat the boss fight. But then this happened. So what happened here is I died as I beat the boss fight, but it didn't make me lose my pants. But the bar did run out, so I'm counting this as a death, because this actually happened a second time in this playthrough. But I eventually got through and beat him. In World 3, the mayor shows up at our house and tells us that the king needs us because pirates have invaded the royal bathtub. So we leave our house and make our way through Squiggleville to go help the king. We make our way up to this little platforming section that leads up to the royal bathtub. We eventually make our way all the way up to the royal bathtub, and then we swim down to the bottom to drain it. We make our way back out of the tub and talk to the captain of the pirates. He pretty much yells at us for ruining his plans, and then his crew calls him the worst captain ever, so he jumps off. We follow him, and then we see him get into an argument with our sister, and our sister kicks him in the dick. After this, the pirates kidnap our sister and make her the pirate princess. So our goal now is to go save our sister. The first place we go is Outer Squiggleville, which kind of looks like a rundown city. One thing I really like about World 3 of this game overall is just that the animations are way more fluid and the gameplay is just a lot smoother. After Outer Squiggleville, we move into Canopy Forest. This section was really short. I think I finished it in under a minute. Next, we make our way to the beach. This takes us to a sand dune-like area with crabs. We eventually make it over to Pirate Cove. Oh, never mind. In here, we have to go on a deep dive. After this, we make our way onto the ship, but we need something to get past these pirates. We find a sunken ship and steal the pencil. Once we get onto the ship, we see that our sister is behind a door with 3 locks on it. We go and explore the ship and find that in order to get keys, we have to open these doors and fight all the enemies inside. Now that we have all the keys, we can finally go into the Pirate Princess headquarters. Inside, we're met with a bunch of enemies, but they're not too hard to handle. Then we find our sister, but it turns out she likes being the leader of the pirates now, so she drops us down under the ship. Once we reach the bottom, we talk to the old captain, and he convinces us to go get him some beer dye so we can win his crew back. So we go through this cavern, and at the top, we find a cannon that will take us to the Forgotten Isle. As soon as we get into the water, we immediately get out and run into the woods. This takes us up into the top of the trees where we jump on giant leaves. We then use this giant spring to launch us back down to the ground to this temple. The temple throws a lot of basic parkour at you, but it does have these really fast moving slabs. Eventually, we make our way to the beer dye. Yoink. We immediately get brought back to the ship, but there are ninjas everywhere. This was my first time playing on World 3 without dying on the other previous worlds, so I thought I could potentially do this in one run on the first try, but this is easily the hardest part of the entire game. I've made it back and I'm ready to take out these ninjas. Once we get back to the quarters, we are met with a bunch of ninjas. The old captain shows up and wants to fight us to prove that he is a man again. And just like that, we've beaten the whole Fancy Pants Adventures game in one life. If you don't believe me, here's the entire thing.